Are we live? Okay, second time lucky. Starting this again. I made an executive decision to start it again. Right, so we're back on this topic of making decisions, and particularly around the speed in which we make a decision. Because I've done a lot of videos. I've done talk about making decisions all the time in my videos, in my lives and things. But I did a video on how to make tough decisions, and in there I give about 5 different tools that you can use to help you make decisions. And one of the ones that I talked about and found was um, we almost always make the right decision, right? It's just based on the knowledge that we have at the time. We generally make decisions based on where we currently are, the best we can do at the time with the knowledge we have, and it's usually the right decision at that time. But we can almost always make that decision a lot sooner. This is something I found when I read back my journals. I've just finished another journal now. When I read them back and I look at everything, because you write down everything that you're doing and all the decisions you make, and you think, yeah, that's really good. You recording progress and everything, but you look at it and you think, flipping heck, I could have made that decision 6 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever, 12. You know what I mean? Finally, I've done this thing, because we just have this sort of, it's kind of like procrastination, but basically, um, we put off decisions. We always tell ourselves this little internal voice like, it'll be okay. I'll give it a bit longer. You know what I mean? We give things too longer, whether that's we're being too nice with people, or we're just avoiding making the decision because the decision means discomfort, because usually we have to make a decision on a big change, right? Or even if it's a small change, it usually brings some discomfort. And it's a bit like what Naval Ravikant. He said, when you're caught between, like a fork in the road moment, between two paths, you should always choose a path that offers the most pain in the short term. Because if you choose the easy way, the one that doesn't have any pain, that's just the status quo basically, and you'll end up, you can choose your pain. You can either take it now for the benefit later, or you can put off the pain and then get much pain, bigger pain down the line. And this is the problem. So we avoid the pain. So we put off decisions for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden we make that decision. And this has been this is one of them things that will propel you to the next level in your life. Making decisions, whether that be choosing a different life path, choosing to do something differently, letting something go, is absolutely fundamental in your success. And like I say, we always make the decisions, we always make correct decisions, but we always seem to make them a lot later than we could have done. And I think this is a skill, learning to make decisions quick. And I don't mean just making them on the hoof. I mean, we always, there's something in our gut that always tells us we have to make this decision, but we put it off, obviously, because we're avoiding the pain or avoiding the discomfort, avoiding the difficult conversation. And it comes back to this time and time again. This is why I keep talking about it, because I think this one thing will take you to the next level a lot quicker. Speed is actually your friend in this regard. There are some decisions that you have to ponder, a big life-changing event. But, if it's a life-changing event, if it's something big, there are certain things in life that affect us more than others. Let's think of them, moving house, moving country, something like this, right? Moving location I think, is quite a big one. It has a massive effect on your success and your outcomes. So moving location, getting married, or choosing a person to spend the rest of your life with is a big decision that can really affect you for, at least we're talking about things that will affect you for 10 years or more. Choosing your career, starting a business, these things are big you know, any kind of family, things like this, the big decisions that need a lot of consideration. If it's something small, you know, you just look for an asymmetrical upside or an easy out and make the decision. I've done with it. Watch my video on making decisions for all, dealing with all the little small, you know, if you're struggling with like little decisions, like choosing a hotel, say, on a holiday, this one or that one, it's like, fucking hell, just look at the one that gives you a free cancellation and just book it, then it's done. It's off your mind, it's offloaded, and then you can always change later. Look for an easy out, or look for an asymmetrical upside, which one gives, you know, just make it. It's not a big deal. But when it comes to a difficult decision, these are the ones that we procrastinate and put off, and it is a form of procrastination, right? And I keep coming back to this. Like I say, I've just finished my journal, another 6 months, and I read it back and I think, great progress, but why didn't I do that months ago? Why didn't I make that change? Like, there's so many things, and two things, I don't want to say what they are, to be giving too much away, but two things have hit me this week that need to be done. There was a lot of small stuff that I dealt with last week, which should have been done years ago. But two things have hit me this week that would be fairly fundamental in my future direction that I need to make a decision on. And there's a decision being made on both. And the funny thing is, you have this kind of, you know when it's time, because you have this kind of gut feeling, you know, it's just sort of rumbling away inside, right? And the minute you make a decision, a big decision, you get this massive amount of relief. Yeah, there might be some buyer's remorse down the line, there always is, but you get this massive amount of relief. But it's like you got stomach cramps until you make the decision. And I think the reason why those stomach cramps build up is because you've took too long on it. You've simply took too long. You've allowed it to build up. And this is probably my biggest flaw, personally, people that know me in business. I'm too fucking nice. You know what I mean? I try and help everyone. And in the end, you've got to look at what's best for everyone and all this kind of thing. So yeah, reminds me of, I said this in my video on making decisions about Tim Ferriss when he has his whole body yes technique. He says you look to the head, the chest, the heart, and the gut, and you look for no signals. And if you get any no signals, any tightness in any of them areas when you think about this decision, it's a no. You need a clean yeses everywhere, otherwise it's a no. And I think it's quite frightening to move yourself from, let's call yourself a normal human, trying to be decent, trying to look after everyone, trying to accommodate everyone, being that normal person, you're not a cunt, and you're just trying to be nice, moving yourself from that person to the person that makes quick decisions. It's quite a transformation, and it takes some practice. Practice in making tough decisions, all this kind of thing. But I think the time is ready. So I just wanted to touch on that because it is important. It keeps cropping up. It generally doesn't crop up if you're not trying. You know what I mean? If you're really pushing in life and you're really trying to make a mark on the world, you'll come a point where you have to make these tough decisions, and the quicker you can make them, the better. Hi, you're right, Rod. You joining? Yeah, and alive again. Yeah, I've not done many. I've been so busy. But yeah, the quicker you can make these decisions, the better, because time is your friend. If you don't make the decisions and you put it off, like I said, yes, you can join the live, of course, what tends to happen if you put it off is you lose traction, you'll get left behind, or the good thing is everyone's doing this, right? But what you'll find is those very few individuals that make quick decisions, they tend to get more progress. So if you want progress, you've got to make fast decisions. Sometimes you've got to let things loose, cut things loose, just so you can move to the next level, you know. It's quite normal. It's a skill. Like I said, I'll just try and recap on the 5 techniques I did in my video, the making decisions. So the first one is, if it's a small decision, right, just look for an easy out. Example I gave was booking a holiday or booking a hotel. If there's a free cancellation, just do it, and then just remember to cancel, right? Live and talk to it. Yeah, of course you can. You can join the live. Talk to me. Yeah, just ask away. So you can, if you get easy out, you can back out, right? Let's say you also want to look for an asymmetrical upside. Next one. So weighed up. This is loss aversion, which is people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. They generally need the loss to be around, so they generally need in favour of the win to be 2 times the loss. So in other words, we're so fear of a loss. Well, 1.5 to 2.5 times the downside, basically, in order to take the risk on the win. You've got to tighten that up. Right, loss aversion really matters on small things. You know, if it's not life-changing, just go on the smallest asymmetrical upside and just go for it. It's just odds. Well, calculate it, right? Not saying it's going to work out, but the problem is we're too risk averse on small things. Yeah, you're not like gambling your house or anything here. Obviously, don't do it with your house, but something normal. You ought to be making a really quick decision. Hi, how can I join the live? You can't join. You're just a listener. You can just. It's not a collaboration. I think you can set up a collaboration, but you have to do like use some streaming software like StreamYard or Restream or something like this, where you're both logged in. I'm not sure if you can do it as a collaborator on YouTube too, but we can't do it now. It's just you can comment, but it's a monologue, unfortunately. Happy to answer any questions. So, yeah, look for that asymmetrical upside. And then the other one is Naval Ravikant's caught between 2 paths, isn't it, that I said earlier. So if you're caught between 2 paths, always choose the path that offers the most pain in the short term, because pain generally means change, growth. You know, you're making a decision to change. And any new thing, whether it's a new habit, a new job, whatever it is, any change is not the status quo. So your brain's going to feel a little bit of pain, maybe a little bit of anxiety. So that pain is, if there's 2 choices, the one with the pain in the short term is the one that you take, because that's going to lead to a new change in an outcome. If you choose the one without any pain, you're actually choosing the status quo. And I think there's always pain in life. You can choose your pain. You can either take it now for a better future, or you can, you know, ignore it and end up taking bigger pain later. An example of that might be like deciding to change your eating habits and your diet or not, or going to the gym or not. You know, keep putting it off. You just get worse. You entropy, right? Whereas making the decision and going to the gym and taking the pain is the one that's going to give you a better result. So that, caught between 2 paths, choose the one with the pain in the short term. That's how you get results. Just a little model. Just ask yourself which is going to be more painful. That one, right? Do that. Not in all cases, not irrationally. You know, you've got to think about it. And then you've got Tim Ferriss's whole body yes that I said before. Look to your head, your chest, your heart, your gut. Look for no signals. If you get no signals, any tightness in any of them, it's a no. Otherwise, if it's clean yes, you're good to go. And then the final one is what I'm talking about today, which is simply that we usually make the right decision. but quite often we make it too late. So just understanding that. This is why I keep a journal. I'm on my new one now. There's my new one. That's my old one. It's completed. And you can read it back. This is what I do on some Saturdays. I read it back and I go, right, in the back of mine, I put in this, like, record all your wins. Like, there's one here, just first one. I've got a small mortgage on the house. I've had, this is really weird, but I've had the same mortgage for about 15 years, never changed it. Because at the time, it might have even been longer than 15 years. It's only small, but I've never changed the rate or anything like this, because when I got it, it was a below base rate tracker that you will not find now. It's a product that they don't even sell. We'll never sell it again. And it was before the crash, before the credit, years ago. They were offering these, like, there were a lot more credit about. So I managed to get this lifetime tracker that was below base rate that you will never find again. Now, I'm waffling about mortgages. So I didn't need to move for like 15 years because it was still beating anything that was on sale in terms of percentage. But all of a sudden, when I moved here, I had a top-up loan. That was on a variable because they couldn't give me the same rate. They wouldn't sell me that again. But it was still better between the two, but it's just now got to a point. So I have just changed my mortgage last week or whatever. It doesn't save huge, like £100 a month, but that's been for years. I should have made that 5 fucking years ago, but I didn't. Yeah, little things like this, right? But there's an example, right? This is not even a big decision. I'm just reading my journal back. Something I should have done years ago, right? Another one, I pay just school fees a way that they're being paid. I should have done that years ago. It's cost me fucking loads in personal taxes and stuff like this. I've been doing it years. I should have looked at that years ago. A lot of these things, I am so busy with business. You've only got so much time and so many hours in the day that you can't do them all. But when you get around to these things, you look at them and you think, why didn't I make that decision 2 years ago? Could have saved 2 years of time, maybe some money, maybe some effort, right? And this is the point. Like, I've got obviously making some big decisions on business and things like this. Another one that I always regret. No, I don't regret anything, but just at a point now where, like with the new business, I'd take investment, right, from an investor. Whereas in the past, I've always been against that. And it's took me this long to get to the point to think it would help me be faster to take investment. And I've always been a favour of bootstrapping. So there's another one. You have to make decisions for it. And I always think if you make decisions fast, as long as it doesn't completely tie you, because obviously when you make a decision, the other issue is you're saying yes to one thing, no to another. So you are making a little mini commitment. You're building a constraint because you're reeling something out. But in a way, not making a decision is still making a decision. So you have to. But most things that you do, they're not going to tie your hand forever. Yeah, if you start a business and take a big loan and all this stuff, yeah, you're tied for a few years. But what's the alternative, You spend a few years procrastinating about it, and then a few years later you think, oh, I should have started that business, and then you start and you realise that you've lost a lot of time. So yeah, I think we always make decisions, good decisions, I think. Usually we make it because we're making them, we're not doing it on purpose. We're based on the knowledge and the tools that we have at the time, we make good decisions. But we almost always could have made them sooner. So I'm just playing on the whole, from now on, just playing on the whole Tim Ferriss thing, the whole body, yes. The head, the chest, the head, the chest, the heart, the gut, look for no signals, and just going on that. a little bit of rational thinking, but I'm just going to make faster decisions from now because I'm getting fucking tired of it. Every time I read a journal back, I always think, yeah, great, made some progress there. Could I not have done that 3 months ago? I'm just getting tired of it, and it keeps cropping up, and it is a skill. We've all got to get better at making quicker decisions. You know, when you make a decision, like, you feel relief, don't you? It feels brilliant. It's like, can we not attach that kind of little relief? Is it like a little hit? It's not dopamine, but that relief, can we not like almost get addicted to that relief? I mean, no matter what decision you make, it's always your absolute reality. Yeah, exactly. So is there a wrong decision? Well, no, there isn't a wrong decision. Even when you make a foolish decision, you know you're making it, don't you? You're still weighing up the odds. Let's say you're taking a risk. You're weighing up the odds and you make the decision based on what you think's best for you, always, because everyone's selfish, right? You might think you're not, but we're all acting in our own best interests. Even if, like, this is regarding a loved one, you think, I love that person, I'm doing the best for them. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you, for your own selfish needs, to get the love, you know, for being in love. That's your own selfish needs. It feels like you're doing it for someone else, but it isn't. You're still doing it for yourself because everyone's acting in their own best interest. Even if you love someone to bits, that's for you, not for them. Right. Thank you for listening. So, yeah, you're right, Rod. Is there a wrong decision? No, I don't think there is. This is the point. Just thought I'd get that off my chest because it keeps coming up. I'm going to try and get better at it. I think if there's a way that you can make these tough decisions faster, you will get bigger results. And maybe it's just telling yourself that you'll get results faster. There are some things where you put yourself through pain, like personally, when I started the journal business last year, it was not an ideal time. I had so much work to do with my existing business. So timing was not right, but I knew I had to do it, right? And so because I did it at a time that timing wasn't right, I pretty much had about 12 months of pain with it. You just, honestly, like, just never been as busy as I am. Spent like fucking years doing nothing. Like, I've not been this busy in 6 years. Spent years doing nothing, not much, just ticking away. And then all of a sudden I just gave myself a right rod for my own back with this bloody new business. But I've got through that now, and I remember at the time committing to buying the stock, thinking, oh, I've got to do it. I just had to, you know what I mean? When you know you have to do it, I did it. And that's it. I'm through it now. So sometimes your decisions can give you a lot of pain in the short term, which is what I had. But now it's operating and it's right. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a brilliant day. It's nice weather here. I'm going to do another video later on, because I've started a new journal. I'm going to do another video on starting a journal, filling them out, how to decide your identity, how to create goals, and how to start, you know what I mean? Like day one, what do you do? Like, this is how I would approach it. Because obviously I've done this many times, but every time it's like a fresh start, you know what I mean? So I'm going to be doing a video on that. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I'll probably record it, Rod, and release it, you know, like as a recorded video. And then another one I wanted to talk about, if you look in the description of this, I've put a new link in there. I put it in a few other videos. It's called Firm List. A friend of mine, a brilliant software developer, my colleague actually, if you must know. He's a genius software engineer. He's created a little tool called Firm List that is, I'm going to say, you can use it for many things. You can use it for risk mitigation. It's basically finds business contacts for you. So you can search, it's based on the UK Companies House registration, so it's UK focused. He might expand it to other countries. And you search the database, get all the director details. It's rapid, like the API. It pulls all the directors' details, the status of the business, whether they're healthy, whether they're about to go in administration, all these kind of things you can search. Get the names and then just export it all to Excel. So it's like when I've done lead generation before, I've paid people on like Fiverr just to get me a database, you know, of leads. So if you're in lead generation, sales, that kind of thing, it's a great tool. Firmlist.co.uk. Very cheap, like for 60,000 records in an industry. If you want to target one industry, you can do it very localized, like within a geographical area or across the UK. 60,000 records will give you like 50 quid. It's nothing. And you can, and it'll also API in and get the LinkedIn details and stuff like this. So check that out. I think he does 50 records for free, just as a little test, just to see if you like the data. And you can also export it to, you know, these automatic mail shot mailing lists. So you'll export it in various formats, so you can just upload it straight into like a bulk mailer or something like this. Because think about lead generation now, snail mail is a thing, you know. Using snail mail, because everyone gets fucking emails, and you know, email marketing works, but we delete most of them, don't we? But when we get snail mail, it works. So like new company filings, new registrations of new companies, get the details quick, get some snail mail out. Go and check it out, firmlist.co.uk. It's in below. So if you're in any kind of sales, business development, lead generation, in the UK, it might be a good tool for you if you're targeting a particular industry. I'm just trying to help him out because he's trying to get it off the ground, all right? I've been, you know, so yeah, everything else, go and make some good decisions. And don't forget, we always make the right decisions, but we always make them, usually we make them too late. We could have made them a lot sooner. Biggest lesson, the quicker you make them, speed is your friend, you get more progress. Right, thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe, watch my other content. See you all next time.